The Buffalo Bills acquire Amari Cooper. That's a big acquisition, but we've acquired Stevie Johnson in studio here around the table. Broken table, powered by FanDuel. Stevie, what's up, man?
What's up, brother? What's up? It's good to be here. It's good to be with you guys on set.
It's
the
amazing.
set is actually cooler than it looks on back in California. I really like it.
Well, you think about how much we talk to Stevie throughout the week. We get our chats going, and now to have him around the table, Chris, it's unbelievable.
Hopefully this isn't the only time. Hopefully we get you back here another time this year, for sure.
I'm looking forward to coming back.
Well, it commemorates a monumental occasion for the Buffalo Bills, potentially signaling the end of everybody eats with Amari Cooper in the fold, acquired for a third-round pick from the Cleveland Browns. Stevie, you're one of the best receivers in Bills history. Amari Cooper, a big acquisition. What was your immediate reaction?
Oh, I loved it. I loved the acquisition of Amari Cooper. I felt like he was exactly what the team needed, given the way the plays developed. You know, with Amari Cooper's ability to get open, to his route IQ is amazing. And with the time that Josh has back there, given the play calls, it's perfect for Amari Cooper style.
Do you think they needed to make this move because of, and I know a few people did some videos of like Bills receivers not really getting open against man coverage. Do you think they looked at what they had and said, we need to bring in Amari Cooper, or this is something they would have done either way?
You know what? I don't think they was looking at the receivers and saying we need him. But after looking at how the game's been played out and then seeing how the league is actually getting better, you know, they know talks, they hear talks, and understanding Davante may enter that conference. It was a play that kind of needed to be made.
I think timing also a big part of this as well. You look at the schedule for the Bills coming up: Tennessee, Seattle, Miami, Indianapolis. It's a soft spot, right? So you have a little bit of time to bring Amari into the fold and get him acclimated into a new offense, right? He's done it before in Dallas, was traded midseason from Oakland to Dallas, had an amazing second half of the year. How difficult, Stevie, do you think it is for Amari in a new offense with a new quarterback, new system?
Yeah, great question, AK. It's actually not that hard. You know, a lot of people may think it is because you look at a playbook and you see how big it is, but the realness of it is a lot of the teams run the same things, just different names, you know. And with Amari, I'll tell you a quick story about myself. When I got traded and went to San Francisco, it literally only took 2 hours for me to connect with Kaepernick on an off day.
Wow.
And I believe Amari Cooper, I feel like he's levels above when it comes to skill. As a rookie, he had 1,500 yards, so I feel like he's different. So I don't think it's going to be an issue at all for him to fit in with Josh Allen.
Well, similar to what you were saying about the playbooks and the terminology, Brandon Beane had a great story where he said when going back to 2015, they worked him out when he was with the Panthers. They brought him in the building and they basically were in the film room with Cooper, and Cooper had the clicker going and was like, look at this route. This is what we do. This is what we call it. And so Beane even said, he's like, we didn't have the fourth pick, so there's no way we were going to get him. But he had a connection and knew this is a dude like Josh who eats, breathes, lives football. Seems like the perfect guy to get into this locker room. And I think you look at the quarterbacks that he played with. This is just the last 3 years in Cleveland. Watson, Winston, Flacco, Walker, Driscoll, Thompson Robinson, and Jacoby Brissett. Oof. So you go from that in 3 years to now Josh Allen, and the sky's the limit with how good this guy could be.
The dude was putting up big numbers in Cleveland. We have 1,250 yards last year, more than 1,300 the year prior. So Amari Cooper is an accomplished number one. Now, my question is now, and I said it off the top, everybody eats. Is that still the mantra, or now is Amari Cooper the go-to guy? Do they change the way their philosophy operates at all in Buffalo offensively?
No, they don't change anything. Actually, I think everybody's going to eat more.
Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
everybody's going to eat
buffet.
more.
Yes,
yeah.
The famine is done.
Take a look at Cincinnati. When T. Higgins came back, one piece came in, Jamar Chase's numbers went all the way up. You know, now you got to look at the Buffalo Bills. When you bring in Amari Cooper, you don't just have a Jamar Chase. You have a Dawson Knox. You have a Kincaid. You have James Cook, Ray Davis. Now you know
your boy.
We got a lot of receivers in there also, but everybody's still going to eat even more because the attention that Amari's going to bring.
If anything, I think it slots everybody properly into where they should be. Shakir can now a little bit of stress off of him. He can be in the slot. Things will open up a little more for him.
Great point.
Now, because teams are going to have to focus on Cooper, everybody else will be elevated. And
Absolutely.
when you get, I think the Ravens game was a perfect example. When a team is playing great man defense and someone like Kyle Hamilton can come in and just disrupt everything from a safety position, now you can't really do that. because Cooper will open things up for everybody else.
It's really exciting. It really is. And I was looking even before the most recent game for the Buffalo Bills against the Jets, and Josh Allen's passing over-under was 197.5 yards.
So it was actually better. I got it at 201.5, and I was ecstatic to smash that over.
But I think what that said to me, I'm looking at it, I'm like, that is so incredibly low. This is a guy who's thrown for 4,000 yards 4 times, is the Buffalo Bills all-time leader in passing yards in a season. There's something off. What is it? And I think in many respects, it was that lack of a number one go-to guy. And I'm not saying Josh Allen's now throwing for 350 every single game, but I think this opens up the Bills' offense and makes them more versatile.
Yeah.
And this is not a slight at Kincaid or Shakir or Keon Coleman or Mac Hollins or anyone.
There was they were asking a lot of those guys, and now
everyone slots in a little bit better in the offense. You have your Stevie Johnson in Amari Cooper, the number one, and it makes a lot of sense for the Bills. And I think even more so than anything, the price that they paid to bring in for Amari, pretty much nothing, right? A 3rd-round pick, and they're not paying him anything with regards to the salary cap. You look what the New York Jets are paying Davante Adams, more than $11 million. The Buffalo Bills are paying Amari Cooper less than $1 million.
Yeah, it's $800K.
Exactly. I mean, chump change, right? Come on, it's nothing. So I think for the Bills, Stevie, this was a complete no-brainer. Off the field, on the field, in every single respect.
Yeah, everything about him is star power to me, and I feel like this is gonna be a great opportunity for him to rebirth his career. You know, he may get that big check after he show what he's about with Josh Allen, and like we was talking about, you know, this team is more complete. The bigger trade possibly, you know, was the Davante meeting back up with Rodgers. However, I feel like this Amari Cooper trade is going to be more lasting than anyone else.
And I think I don't think anybody would say that Cooper's a better receiver than Adams. I think Adams is definitely the better receiver. But in terms of fit, Cooper seems like the much better fit, and everybody eats. Adams might not have been able to fit into that. Adams is a guy who, I don't know, I watched Receiver on Netflix. He seemed like a dude who even when they're winning, he kind of wanted the ball. And maybe you're the perfect guy to answer that. What would you, and you're going to have to speak for all receivers here, so it's all on you. Would you rather have a 35-10 win and you have 1 catch for 12 yards, or you lose a close game but you got 12 catches for 150? What do you think most receivers would want? Be honest, man. See, I think that answers the question.
No, but seriously though, like it comes down to like generations though.
Sure.
And I felt like Amari was just out of that generation where Davante and I, we were more of the, you guys got to stay in. Like if you get injured, stay in. Don't tell them you got a concussion type. You got to get those yards because later on you may get paid or whatnot. Yeah. That's what our generation was being fed. There's only some of us that see it, you know, both ways. Amari came in with 2015. It was later. For example, you get a concussion, say something because it has to be done.
Yeah.
Amari, he's that guy where he won't mind getting 1 catch, 35 yards, the team get a win. I think it's going to be a lot of that later on in the season, and I think the fans got to just chill when they do see that and don't say Amari's not productive. It's showing other places.
And the irony of this trade is that the two teams played in prime time, and the next day they're making major acquisitions almost in response to one another. It's like an arm race in the AFC East. Now, the Bills are 4-2. The Jets are 2-4. The Bills are almost certainly going to win the AFC East, barring some dramatic collapse, or maybe the Jets have this incredible resurgence. How much better do you think the Jets are with Davante?
Yeah.
Does that make them like a lot better, or maybe it's not such a significant difference?
I think it makes them a lot better because, given if they had Davante, I feel like they might have beat our Buffalo Bills, so it makes them wild card challenge,
Honestly, some of the throws Rodgers was making,
he looked good.
I think he hit Lazard on Terrell Bernard was face guarding, and the window he put that ball into was he still has the arm talent, and it was on display Monday night.
Yeah, did you see the incomplete in the back of the end zone to Garrett Wilson, where he knew to put it back shoulder? That's one of those plays, Davante Adams, he knows, all right, Benford played great defense. I'm not even going to try to force it. I already know Rodgers is going to throw this back shoulder. Wilson was just a half a second too late on reacting to that.
And it's funny, we talked about it last week because the interception in the London game was route communication. They weren't on the same page. And we kind of saw the same thing with Mike Williams on that last Taron Johnson pick on Monday night.
Indeed.
So here's my question, though. If you're defending this, where are you putting your number one corner? Are you putting him on Garrett Wilson or Davante Adams?
Well, that's good that we have a few good DBs.
Yes,
now, so that's good. You stack your roster with depth. But I'm going to put Benford. I'll put Benford on Adams and let him take that challenge. He did very good against Garrett Wilson. Wilson's a great player like Amari Cooper. I saw pace and tempo. They all got that. So it's just going to be on our DBs to step up, and our guys have shown to step up.
With regards to the Bills' win over the New York Jets, perhaps the star offensively for Buffalo.
Not even perhaps. Lose the perhaps.
Was your boy Ray Davis.
Yeah,
and
Wildcat.
Before the season, again, a fellow Kentucky Wildcat, before the season, you told us Ray Davis going to be the next Le'Veon Bell. And I looked at Chris, I'm like, I don't know. And then the first drive, I just see Ray Davis just gashing
that
the
catch
Jets.
too?
Oh,
Like,
the catch
come
was
on,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, you must have been proud to see your boy step up the way he did.
Absolutely, man. Big shout out to Ray Davis, man. He came from being homeless, that's his
crazy
personal story.
yeah.
And to get into Kentucky, your tempo transferring. And a lot of people didn't know he was up for Heisman. So we got a steal in Ray Davis. I've seen it all through his college career, and I'm glad to see him with the Buffalo Bills.
The crazy thing to me with Ray Davis was everyone the videos that I was enthralled by with him when they drafted him was how much of a thumper he was. Him just running people over. And we didn't even really we saw a bit of it, but it was everything else. It was the route running. It was the speed, the quickness. I was very impressed with what I saw from Ray Davis to the point where, like, we know Cook, I think, has been limited in practice this week. Hey, it's the Titans. Cook, take another week.
Yeah,
take another
exactly.
week.
No
like,
worries.
Heal up. Let's see. I'm fine if we got Ray Davis again for another week. I got no problem with that.
Yeah, Ty Johnson looked good too.
Johnson looked
I think
good.
there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about what we saw from the Bills, the run game against the Jets, because again, James Cook wasn't in the lineup. And there's this concern, all right, Ray Davis is a rookie, Ty Johnson more of a situational guy. If James Cook does need to miss time here going forward, which again, we'll see how long
Poor
he is
Ty
out
Johnson,
for.
though. Guy goes for 12 yards on his first carry as someone who bet is over, which
Yeah.
did hit, but guy gets 12 yards. I'm like, here we go. It's a Ty Johnson show. And then Ray Davis comes in, Wally pips him, has like the next 20 plays.
He
But
looked
the
great.
great thing about that 12-yard run, it was energy for us early, and we needed that. So
Big time.
that one play played dividends for the team.
Now, even with Amari Cooper, I hope that we talked about this ad nauseum all year. The Joe Brady offense is kind of built around the balance. And honestly, my dad gives me about this all the time when he's an old school thinker of the run game, and I would be like, old man, the run game's dead. You need to pass. But we're kind of seeing a switch again. And the Bills are at their best right now when they're running the ball. So even with Amari Cooper, are we still going to see Joe Brady's commitment to the run? I hope we do. What do you guys think?
Same. I hope we do also. I hope he don't change up and do anything out of out of his normal. Just continue doing what you do. You're a great creator. You got a great run game. Go with it, and then that'll open up the pass.
Definitely. And you're looking in the schedule the next 4 weeks. Tennessee, Bills, 9.5 point favorite this week at home. They've got Seattle where they'll be favored. Miami, Indianapolis. These are games when you have to lean on the run game because presumably you'll be playing with the lead in the second half. And whether it's Cook or Davis or Johnson, I think that's a situation in which the Bills should be able to thrive because we've seen it time and time again. Whether they're winning or losing, Buffalo has been really effective with the ground game, and doesn't matter seemingly who's back there at running back, they thrive. And I think Monday was yet another indication of that.
To add on to that, I saw a great stat. They are one of only 3 teams in the NFL that has 350-yard rushers. The fact that Allen, Ray Davis, and James Cook are ready is just unbelievable.
Yeah, that is great. Steve, I wanted to ask you about a tweet from your former quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, this was great. I love this.
Yeah, so Larry Fitzgerald asked Ryan Fitzpatrick if he could pick a teammate to start a team with, who would it be? Now, Fitz took Fred Jackson.
Okay,
Another one of your former teammates. See, if I was Fitz, I would have taken you. You were number 2. You were number 2.
Oh, that's cool.
Is there one guy, maybe it was a quarterback, maybe it was a fellow receiver, someone who you look back on and say, that's the guy I would start my franchise with over your playing career?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Fitz.
Nice.
Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I felt like he sacrificed a lot in order to get me the ball, and I appreciated that, especially at a time where coaches was hounding quarterbacks to do it this way, this many steps. You got to hold it here and let it go there. And we was kind of doing our own thing. So I give props to Fitz.
How much of that came from Changeli? Was Changeli, I feel like Changeli was a big believer in Fitz and was a proponent of your guys in that chemistry.
Man, Changeli was special. I love him. Even though he benched me when we was up 21-0 in New England, then we ended up losing that game. But I love Coach Gailey, though. He had a creative mind. He gave us opportunity to work and do what we do, as opposed to forcing us to do it how he wanted us to. And that was a great coach.
What about Fred? How was Fred as a teammate?
Oh my goodness, Fred. So I don't even want to start off as a teammate, just as a roommate. So that was my roommate. While I was there. So every time he was looking out for us. He never let nobody mess with me or anything. He was a protector in a sense, but he always wanted to wrestle, and he was too strong for all that.
So he's a running back.
Oh, he looks
like
like core strength. That Fred Jackson is
220.
core strength. Yeah.
So every time I walk in a room, I got to keep my head on the swivel because he'll come out of nowhere trying to tackle you and show the strength. But that leads on to the field. I think that's why Fitz chose him, because he's great at protection. You know, when it comes to knowing the playbook, his IQ is unbelievable from a receiver standpoint and a running back standpoint. The communication between talking to a quarterback. You know, it's just on another level.
I feel like too there was, and I know he was famous for wearing that Div 3 Pride chain. Like that's a dude who, when you come from Div 3 and you get in the league that way, and like the Bills drafted Marshawn Lynch, they drafted CJ Spiller, but who's the guy who was always there who beat those guys out? Fred Jackson.
Yep,
And he's your classic hard hat. Like every Bills fan loved Fred Jackson.
Yeah, and you think about Fitzpatrick, who played for how many teams in his NFL career by the end of it, right? For him to identify Fred Jackson as the guy he would start his team with says a lot about his character and the way he performed as a Buffalo Bill and elsewhere.
So now let's get to the most important thing right now. Stevie, you got the tailgate going this Sunday. Which NFL fans drink the most on game day? We got the Bengals at the top, 8.2 drinks per game. Bills, 7.9 drinks per game day. How do we get those numbers up? How do we pass the Bengals to get the one?
Yeah, Bengals number one.
So but the Raiders are on that list and the Browns are on that list, and it's no coincidence. 3 of the 4 teams on that list don't have a Super Bowl. So
Interesting.
as someone, especially in my younger days, I would definitely hit the over on those. Now that I'm a father and more responsible, I'm closer to the middle of the pack on those numbers. But Stevie, your tailgate, what do you think? How lively? Are they going to hit that 7.9 drink per game day number?
Especially after hearing our Broken Table pod.
That's right.
We definitely got to get those numbers up. You know, I think we're a fan base that'll drink you through the table and throw you through the table.
Nice.
So we got to hold it down.
What's that like as a player, knowing that you have like just the Bills Mafia in general, knowing that like they're up there as the craziest fan bases in the NFL, and the players have to at least like feel that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love it because, you know, they love me in a sense, and I wasn't all good, you know? So that just shows the commitment and the loyalty that the Bills Mafia have, you know? And I'm sure other fan bases are the same as far as support, but, you know, it's just something different about the Mafia, and you got to just come out and experience it.
Which fan base did you dislike the most in your playing days? So obviously you love Bills Mafia, but was there on the other side a fan base who you're like, I hate this group of people?
I didn't hate them, but I disliked the New England Patriots.
Yeah, there we go.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
They were
AFC
so
East.
exciting though. They were so exciting. They would throw they would say anything, and if you got to have thick skin, you know, and understand this is competition. But they loved their team, you know, and I always had a good time out there when I went out to Foxborough. Did a few tweets that they didn't take too serious, but the world did, you know. But it was good competition.
I would feel like the Dolphins fans are just the most irrelevant group of fans. Where it's like, you're cool, man. You leave the stadium early. Like,
should I go to the beach? Should I go to the casino?
Let's go back to like game 6 Heat, like against the Spurs when the fans are trying to get back in the stadium, and like that's Miami fans summed up right there.
Mr. Ray Allen 3 in the corner.
So this will be the first time the Bills have been home in a while. The last time the Bills were at home, and Michael, let's get the video up here if we can. So this was the last time there was a Bills home game. This is a fan eating spaghetti out of a bag in...
Hey, by any means necessary.
Yay or nay, spaghetti in a bag? Let's start with...
He's got some meatballs in there too?
Looks like it.
Nice.
So, AK, let's start with you. Yay or nay, spaghetti in a bag?
I am very pro spaghetti in a bag. Now, you got to conceal it to get it into the
you're allowed to
building,
bring
right?
food in.
You're
Food's
allowed to
allowed.
bring spaghetti in. I didn't know that.
Well,
All
so
right.
I think the rules are clear plastic bag, and he's got it in the Ziploc bag.
I mean, he's really skirting the rules. He's really playing on the fringes a little bit, but I have an immense amount of respect for it. Now, is that fresh pasta, homemade? I have questions about how it was prepared. But listen, by any means necessary, inflation is expensive these days. So you got to, conjure up any ways to cut the corners.
Stevie, you going spaghetti in a bag?
Yeah, I'm going spaghetti in a bag. I want that one specifically because his lady must have made some fire spaghetti.
I think so. He was really hammering that back too.
I want to try that.
How are you not eating enough at the tailgate though to get the base that you need to bring spaghetti in a bag?
You have 7.9 drinks,
Yes.
Chris.
Well,
you might need some spaghetti to balance it all out.
This is a nice little jump off point to some other disgusting food things we have seen in stadiums. And let's start it. This is from a Yankees game. This gentleman right here he's hollowing out a hot dog, and he's going hot dog as a straw. I hear Takia in the background making an sound as she sees this video. So this man has hollowed out a hot dog as a straw. How you guys feeling about this?
That one I cannot possibly support. Oh,
The hot
wow. That
dog
is a
in the
big
straw.
sip of beer as well out of the hot dog. That is a huge no for me.
Hey, you remember the sour licorice? You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that.
That
as
was a straw for sure, of course, yeah.
But
I
a
don't
hot
know
dog?
about the glizz, yeah.
Probably-
Yeah, no.
No. I am
Easy straw,
out.
never.
No.
Okay, don't worry. This is about to get grosser. So
perfect.
what do we got? What do we got next, boys?
That looked like popcorn. That's not
Oh
right.
yeah, this
What's
is
that?
at a Washington State game many years ago, and this guy's just clearly wasted in the rain, just going popcorn. But it's this shot right here coming up.
Oh, man. That looks like
That's
caramel
ridiculous,
corn,
bro.
too. That's
Yeah,
stuck
that's
all over
terrible.
his face. Yeah. Way more than 7.9 drinks for that
Yes.
fella.
Yeah.
If you're eating popcorn like that and looking like that, that's going to be a tough way to come home to
sticky
your
beers
missus.
and all. That's crazy.
Okay, now perhaps the most disgusting is coming up next here, and we got two. This has happened many times with fans. I don't know how this kind of became a thing. This man is eating mayo with a spoon out of the jar.
Is that Will Levis?
Yes, yeah, seriously. And yeah, like I said, now here's a Habs game, same thing.
Another one. So is this a thing or something?
People have been doing it. I think honestly, this is what's wrong with the world today, and this
Is that healthy?
TikTok generation
There's
of
no
everyone
way
to go
that's
viral.
healthy. That's all about the clicks.
Oh yeah, it's gotta be
And
about
I mean,
clicks,
listen,
yeah.
if it means I become a social media sensation, I'll eat some mayonnaise, I
Okay.
guess.
So
but-
they knew they was gonna be on broken
What's the
tables.
grossest? What's the
Exactly.
grossest of the bunch? Because I personally, I would go the mayo. The mayo out of the jar is disgusting, but like the glizzy straw, I can at least I respect the creativity. But mayo out with a spoon, like, what are you doing?
It's just a lot of backstory on the glizzy straw. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's something to really think about and ponder. The mayo with the spoon is just absurd. It makes no sense. At least the glizzy straw has a purpose to get the beer into your body faster. The mayo with the spoon makes no sense on any level. All right, Chiefs-Niners, 4 o'clock game. I'm so fired up for this game. Kansas City off a bye. We know how good Andy Reid teams are off a bye. And last week, Chris, a winner in our Streeter same game parlay.
The streets know what they knew. What's up?
The streets are right. We'll see if we can follow it up with one today.
Oh, not on the road. UPS guy, football fan? Hey, football fan, driver? No? All right. Hey, you on the bike, football fan? It is a Super Bowl rematch between the Chiefs and 49ers. We're on the streets of Toronto doing a little same-game parlay for FanDuel. Catch? What? You want to talk some football?
I don't know about football.
Nice catch. There we go. Thank you very much. Terrible throw, though. Terrible throw. Same-game parlay
Okay.
with FanDuel.
Okay, cool.
Are you a Chiefs fan or what?
Hey, Bills, go Bills.
I am also a Bills fan, so there we go. Okay, so we hate the Chiefs.
Yeah.
We're in unison on that. Okay, so Chiefs and
Well, no,
Niners.
I love Taylor Swift too, but
That's okay. Chiefs or Niners, who you got?
Niners.
Okay, we got the Niners now. Let's go Kelsey. We live with Kelsey and Swift. Are we going Kelsey's yards over or under?
Over.
Let's go Mahomes then. He's no Josh Allen, right?
No Josh Allen, absolutely not.
We can agree there.
Yeah,
No,
that
nobody
we can
really
agree
is,
on.
right? I'm just going to say this too. Haley Steinfeld, Josh's girlfriend, more talented than Taylor. Oh, wow. You're officially out of Bills Mafia, but okay. Okay, so we got Mahomes going over, Kelsey going over, but Niners to win. Go make this bet on FanDuel.
It's going to be a high-scoring game.
Okay, so we're making a little same-game parlay on FanDuel. Let's start with the game. Who you got, the Chiefs and the Niners?
Chiefs all the way.
Are you a Chiefs fan?
Yeah.
So look at this board. What do you see? You like Mahomes' yards?
I'm gonna say over.
Okay, now let's go to Kelsey. It's a high number, but he's kind of woken up lately.
Yeah. You know what? I think he's been performing well, and so I'm gonna keep it positive, and say over 62.5.
Okay, so now what about touchdowns? Is Kelsey going to get a touchdown? Last one.
Yes. I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna say 2+.
Wow, 2+. Okay, so we're getting crazy. We got Kelsey, 2+ touchdowns, Mahomes over yards, Chiefs to win. Are you okay with this, Christopher?
Yeah.
He likes it. You there on the bike? Are you a football fan? He didn't even turn around. There you go. I'm going to lead you. Oh, what? Look at those hands.
They're really big.
Yes.
Don't throw footballs at people. Okay?
Why? It works. Dude, you got one leg, but are you ready to make a catch? You got it? There it is. How did you injure the leg?
Playing football, actually.
First of all, for the game, who you like?
Probably the Niners. I'm a Seahawks fan, though, which is tough to say.
Are there any props here that jump out to you? Mahomes yards, Purdy yards, anything you see?
I do like the Hunt anytime touchdowns.
Ooh, there we go. Hunt anytime touchdown, plus 115. Nice little leg to that. Okay, anything else? What about Hunt's yards? Do you like Hunt's yards?
I do actually, yeah.
This thing's looking juicy now. Do you want to maybe add a Kelsey touchdown on there or no?
Might as well, yeah.
Kelsey touchdown. How do you feel about Taylor Swift?
I don't know. That's kind of why I stopped watching the Kansas City games, not to lie. But
Too much Swift for you?
a little too much sometimes, yeah.
Go Chiefs.
Christopher, Chiefs or 49ers? It's much easier talking to people on the streets when you can be like, hey, are you a Taylor Swift fan? That's all I'm going to say. But having Chiefs for that is so much easier because I just be like, hey, you a Swiftie? You a Swiftie? As opposed to, I'll bring the football, I'll still toss it at people. But being able to say, are you a Swiftie helps.
well-
Real quick, Stevie, Swiftie, Taylor Swift fan or what?
Yeah, for sure. I respect the hustle. I respect the grind and the skill. You know, she did her thing.
She's probably going to be in Buffalo November 17th
favorite
too for
song?
Bills
You
Chiefs.
got any favorites? Favorite album? You a Reputation
Dang,
guy?
I don't know
Lover?
the name. Yeah, I don't know the name,
Yeah.
but I know she got some hits though for
Yeah,
sure.
oh, there's no doubt about
Yeah.
that. Anyways, enough Taylor Swift
So,
talk.
speaking of Taylor Swift, we got a Super Bowl rematch on Sunday. Chiefs and Niners. I think arguably game of the week. I think this is the first, other than the Ravens week 1 and week 1's whatever, this is the first real test for the Chiefs this season.
Exactly. And this is a team that has just snuck by seemingly week after week, finding ways to win, and against the San Fran team that I think is poised to have a really big second half, especially at home. The Niners are the favored side in this game over Kansas City, and rightfully so. I think this might be the game of the year. Forget the game of the week, because we're seeing Kansas City perhaps at its most vulnerable, right? Because they're missing Rashee Rice, they're missing Pacheco, they're missing Hollywood Brown. But to this point, it hasn't mattered.
Hasn't mattered at all.
But we'll
Kareem
see.
Hunt hasn't missed a beat.
Kareem Hunt looks vintage. You have Juju Smith-Schuster racking up
Yeah.
130 yards. I don't know how they seem to do it, but it could be a lot more challenging in San Francisco.
Yeah, I just feel like it's the intangibles that the Chiefs possess. You know, their creativity as far as getting the ball out. It doesn't even allow certain defenses to get in position. So those little small 3-yard passes that turn into chunks, those turn into first downs, which turn into field goals and touchdowns. And who's the best at managing that? Patrick Mahomes, you know, with whoever he has on the field. So
Well, it's funny how far we've gone where it's like, that is the Chiefs offense now. Is
That's
those
their
little
offense,
those
yeah.
little dink and dunk and like stuff around the line of scrimmage. And I think Brock Purdy throws downfield way more than Patrick Mahomes. And it's like, where have things gone with Mahomes where Purdy is now this guy who's looking for stuff downfield? But I guess when you have the playmakers that San Fran has versus you lose a guy like Tyreek Hill, it's harder to go downfield.
And the thing that still perplexes me about the NFL MVP odds on FanDuel is that Mahomes is the favorite.
How?
And I know they're 5-0, but statistically, it's not even close to Lamar, to Stroud, even to
Even
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, 10 touchdowns, no picks.
I
But
don't
when you have a
get
Super
it.
Bowl, when you take the
Yeah.
Super Bowl and you're
Yeah.
defending it and you got 5-0 with
Yeah.
injured guys, I understand.
You just keep picking up wins. There's no denying Mahomes' value, but I just think statistically, his numbers may be a shadow of what
I
they
don't think
they
by
were.
the end of the year, once they like get a couple losses and you have probably like if the Bills are 12-5 and the Chiefs are 13-4, but Josh Allen has 40 touchdowns and 6 picks and Mahomes has 25 and 10,
Yeah,
then it probably should go to Josh
it's
Allen.
a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Or C.J. Stroud. I mean,
Yeah.
the way that the Houston Texans have looked this year, and they're dealing with injuries of their own. Nico Collins is missing time.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon has missed time. And that offense is just humming. I've been so impressed with what
They
I've seen
look
from
with
C.J.
Mixon
Stroud.
back, they look like a different team with Mixon back.
I know. That's a
Their
nasty
defense is
team,
good
man.
also.
That's a nasty team. And
Energetic.
I think about the AFC as a whole, right? So you have Buffalo, you have Houston, you have Baltimore, you have Kansas City, the division leaders. Who else is good beyond those 4 teams? Like you look at Pittsburgh, maybe you look at the Jets.
I
maybe
think
you look-
Pittsburgh's good.
I think
Pittsburgh's
Pittsburgh's
good,
good. And their defense is exceptional. Their offense, Russell Wilson,
Well, I
Justin
don't
Fields.
understand. Let's get you in on that. How if you're a Steelers receiver, we were talking about George Pickens before. Say you're George Pickens. How do you feel that they're now going, hey, this Justin Fields got us to 4-2, and now we're starting Russell Wilson? How do you feel if you're a Steelers receiver?
It kind of depends on that communication, you know, inside that facility. You know, if they got the same if Pickens has the same communication that he has with Fields with Russell, then it should be no issue at all. But again, like we were talking about earlier, you know, if you don't have that communication, things go get real difficult and sour, and you may see it come out of a young receiver like Pickens.
I am really excited to see what Pittsburgh's able to do, especially in that game against the Jets, right?
Yeah.
Where New York's got Davante Adams. They're going to try to assimilate him into the offense. Russell Wilson making his debut. How the Steelers' offense looks. Again, you mentioned it, 4-2 with Fields.
Yeah.
The guy's got an element to his game that Russell Wilson doesn't have in the running. Now, I think Wilson's a better passer, but I think Fields is a much better
Maybe
athlete.
I think he gives you more in terms of
Yeah.
the way that Mike Tomlin wants to play. So I'm a little shocked to see Wilson starting, but their offense hasn't really done enough. So maybe they just need a spark. One thing with the Jets that I'm intrigued to see Is Mike Williams the odd man out?
Oh,
is
yeah,
Mike
he's
Williams going to
done.
be a Kansas City Chief in a couple of weeks?
Possibly, but it definitely looked like he was trying to figure out his role and where to be. And as you've seen, he was kind of late with those back shoulders and those quick passes. But I think maybe a little bit more time and he'll get accustomed to it.
Rodgers just shoved him right under the bus.
If you're Mike Williams and Rodgers blames you on national TV, how do you feel as opposed to why can't Rodgers just kind of eat it on TV and then go talk to you in the locker room and say, hey man, that's on you?
Yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with being open and transparent. I think they have that relationship. That's probably why he did say that out there, and it's probably just, a test of trying to inspire him, to do more. Because he was comfortable with a Phillip Rivers and Herbert for his first 8 years, and you didn't have to think about like hot routes and things like that. That was a different type of style for him, so he'll pick up onto it.
Consider what the Jets did, bringing him in off the torn ACL, completely ineffective. And they spent a lot of money to bring him in, and they're just patching over mistakes week after week. Oh, we need a new coach. All right, we need a new play caller. We need a new number one receiver. Oh, our big free agent acquisition on offense. He's out. We'll see if it works. I mean, just kind of shifting things around mid-season, so many significant changes to the way that team operates, both on offense and defense. I mean, it's a big task for that coaching staff.
I will say this. One, the play calling change appeared to work because they were, and not even talking about Rodgers or the offense, their running game was alive again.
Oh, yeah.
And they had run concepts that we hadn't seen yet this year, and Breece Hall finally had some space. But you talk about the Bills having a cake schedule. The Jets have it pretty easy over the next few weeks that it wouldn't shock me if they can get back into this wild card race.
And again, the quality of the AFC, or lack thereof, I think the Jets will be a wild card team. I think the Chargers will be a wild card team because, I mean...
The Steelers are probably the third one, too.
The Steelers, I think, will be as well. And again, maybe Miami, if they can find a way to get Tagovailoa back in there.
Miami's done.
Well, you got to get Tua back. If you get Tua back, I think Miami can be a playoff team, but that seems like a little bit of a stretch at this point. And again, they're just 2-3, but I don't know. The AFC, beyond the top four teams, I think is wide open. And that's why I think the Jets looked at it. It's like, all right, let's make the financial commitment to Davante. Let's give up the draft picks, maybe a second-round pick if they get to the AFC title game.
Or if he's first-team All-Pro or
or if he's
second-team
first-team
All-Pro.
All-Pro, both of which seem incredibly unlikely at this point. But I think it makes all the sense in the world for how the Jets operated, considering the circumstances in the conference.
I'm excited to see Adams with Rodgers again. I think it's interesting. I think they lose to Pittsburgh this week because it might take some time to get on the same page. But the division is interesting. And speaking of interesting, what better time to bring in Stevie Johnson with his Why So Serious Villain of the Week? Who we got this week?
Why so serious?
So this week's Villain of the Week, I'm going to go with Ray Davis. He's
Of
going
course,
to get,
Kentucky. You gotta rep the Kentucky connection.
He did a great job last week, and this week he'll be going against his former quarterback, and Will Levis. So I think he's going to come wreck the day for his old teammate.
Wow, that's right.
love that.
Kentucky on Kentucky crime.
And honestly, if depending on what happens with Cook, we already said before we think Cook should sit. Even if Cook plays, you got to give a healthy. You got to feed Ray Davis still because you want to maybe take it a little easy on Cook. And
they might have a 21-point lead in the third quarter. It's like, all right, Ray, get back in there and eat. And that's what I think the Buffalo Bills ultimately will have happened against a Tennessee team that is no good.
All right, time now for our staff parlay. And last week, once again, one leg let us down.
Josh Jacobs let us down. It wasn't me. It was Josh Jacobs. The carries were there. The game script was there. His performance was not. I blame him, not myself.
I would not be so bitter if it didn't cost me my own separate parlay, and it was the only losing leg on it. And as we look at the standings here, I'm still looking pretty pristine now with one loss. Stevie, your record's good, but you've been taking a lot of moneyline favorites, so we're making you take a spread this week.
Yeah,
You're here in person. We're making you take a spread. What do we got?
And it's tough, though. That spread, the Bills over the Titans, 9 points, is a lot. But I think the Bills will beat them by 30. So
here we go. Oh, are we adjusting that? What are we adjusting that? What does adjusted 14.5 look like?
Yeah, exactly. Well, the Stevie Johnson presence in Buffalo is worth at least a touchdown against the spread. There's no doubt about that.
Let's go, Coop.
I'm on the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. I'm fading
Following
the noise.
my lead from last year.
I'm fading the noise on the New York Jets. That point spread moved 2.5 points with the Davante Adams trade. This is a guy who hasn't played in a number of weeks.
He says he's playing this week.
He's a full practice. Wow, what a miraculous. My hamstring. Sorry, Raiders, I can't play. Oh, and actually, I'm full practice. I'm good to go as soon as I get traded. I don't buy the Jets and how they're able to put so many things together so quickly. They look good against Buffalo. I think this is a regression spot for the Jets. I'm taking the Steelers as small dogs.
Short week 2.
Exactly.
And I will also be going with an AFC North team, but I'm going the Cleveland Browns under 18.5 points.
It's a lock.
They have not gone over this number once this year. I know the Bengals have given up a lot of points, but they've given up a lot of points against good teams. Last week, they held the Giants to 7 points. Big Lou's defense looked to be coming around. I don't understand this Browns number at all. They're averaging 15.8 a game, and it makes no sense to me at all that this number is 18.5. That would be a monster day for that Cleveland offense.
The Bengals defense stinks, but nothing stinks as bad as what the Cleveland Browns have put forward. And
no Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper's out, so I'm not even sure. Is Jerry Jeudy going to catch 10 balls from Deshaun Watson? I mean, you got to wonder how long this Watson experiment continues. I think your biggest concern there with the under is that they pull Watson and put Jameis Winston in.
I would love that, but I as a fan of Jameis, but I got a great stat here just to really put things into perspective with the Browns. Amari Cooper saw 455 uncatchable air yards the first 6 weeks of the season. Stevie's face says it all.
The first six weeks?
The translation, he has had more bad throws than anybody in the NFL.
Way.
Like, how is that a stat? That is insane.
And they're still starting Watson.
Yep.
One more week. 230 million guaranteed. That might be a large reason to do with it.
You know what? So that makes sense because I heard a stat about Amari supposedly leading in drops.
He does, but if you look at the passes,
but now knowing that, no wonder.
Someone melted a video of all of his drops on Twitter, and it's like
ridiculous.
They're you know how it's like some interceptions aren't on the quarterback? These drops are not on the receiver one bit. These are all on Watson.
Hey, speaking of drops, so this drive up to Toronto, great drive, but then I started thinking, hey, it took kind of long. And I remembered our conversation. You was at the Pittsburgh game when I dropped the ball.
Yes, I
was.
was.
You had to ride back. Was you cursing me, bro? Like, I know, I'm sorry.
Stevie,
bro.
I kid you not. I literally, the ball's in the air. I'm hugging my buddy Shane. We're celebrating. I'm literally mid-hug. And then the guy behind is like, yo, he dropped it. And then, so.
Oh, man. Dark memories.
And we can bring this
over to
Stevie, we can bring this up.
Tell me how to ride.
Stevie, hold on. I'll show you this right now. My sister, oddly enough, because I told her you were going to be in studio, she sent me a picture from that game. This is the ride.
Man,
this is the look on the drive home.
You got to throw that up on the
We'll
screen.
bring it up on the screen.
Throw that up on the screen.
I got to give him a hug on this one, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
A lot of good memories with Stevie as well. It's not just one bad.
I'll let my buddy
bad
Shane
moment.
know too that we've been forgiven for that. But honestly, the drive back, that can be a long drive, but it's a lot easier when it's a win. That's for sure. If not, usually I'm sleeping till the border. Wake me up when I get to the border.
But that was the birth of Bills Mafia.
Yeah,
that's right.
So, once you woke up, you seen the Mafia there.
Yes,
it's like,
exactly.
Hey, we got something. So, it kind of worked out. Like,
Man, you did look sad, cuddled up in that ball in the side of the car.
That's how
that's
I was.
That's
also,
a tough one.
I was just,
It's all good. It's all good. Now you're with us.
Thanks.
Now you're
Yeah,
with
I'm
us.
Also, that's not only Stevie's fault that I was cuddled up like that, but like the rye at the duty free is like $9.99 for a 40. So that also plays a part into that.
That'll do it. That again, the over 7.92
over
drinks.
7.9 drinks.
You were way over. You were contributing to the over on that occasion. What a time it's been, Stevie, having you in studio with us. You know how we close every edition of Broken Table. I'm passing it over to you this time.
Hey, man, make sure y'all handle biz, have fun, and repeat. One love from the Broken Table Podcast. Peace.